Hey guys, it's Maymay. And yes, I have a stuffy nose. I apologize. It's just allergies, no worries. But I've asked you guys to kind of challenge me with some different ideas for card projects that you'd like to see. And this one was posted on my Facebook group. I don't remember if it was a specific challenge, but the person was wanting to learn how to do it, and so did I. So I had to do a lot of research, and I couldn't find a tutorial out there. You may know of one, but I couldn't find one. So here's what I came up with. So this is what the card looks like. This is the front. That was not the challenge. This was the challenge, the little gift bag in the middle. How cute is this, right? It's perfect for holding a gift card. So if you want to give someone a gift card, and how great is it for a last minute Valentine? Because you pick up a gift card, you make this quick little card, and it looks like you went to a lot of effort, right? I hope you did go to some effort, but that's what this looks like. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. Now, one thing I would change, this is my prototype. This is the first one I did. And one thing I would change is how I stamped sideways. I would stamp it this way next time. I had originally thought I would open the card like this, but if you do it like this, you have a tendency to have them drop the gift out of the bag for the way they're holding it. So that's why I went this way with it. At least this way, I think it will hold the gift card in better, and so I'll change it. But then again, it really doesn't bother me that it looks like this, because they can always open it and turn it this way. Do what you want to do, but let's get started with that. So there's a couple things. Number one is I think that the inside of this card works so much better using regular paper, not cardstock, for that little gift bag. Now, I don't have any pattern paper that I wanted to use, but you could certainly print some out. There's some great digital stuff out there. Like my friend Melody Lane has some great digital paper that you could use for hers. But I'm going to stamp because I love to stamp. That's my thing, right? So I've taken a big heart stamp, and I'll put the stamp sets below that I'm using. I'm using a couple different ones today. And this little heart I just love. So I'm going to use it and some red ink. And you're only going to need a strip of paper that's 3 inches tall. So I'm just going to go around, and about 3 inches worth of this paper, I'm going to make my own designer paper. So I'm starting with this stamp, and then I'm going to add different stamps until I get enough to be my 3 inches of paper stamped. Now, I'm clearly doing this in a Valentine theme, but this little gift bag could be used for any occasion. And I did a big old search for this guy. I went on Pinterest. I went all over the place. And the same photo that the subscriber shared on Facebook is the only one I could find. And I couldn't find a video or a blog post about it. So I really don't have a person to give credit to. And I apologize. If you know who to give credit to, let me know, because I never want to take credit. But I did sit down and figure this out, so it wasn't too hard, but it did take me a little bit to get that bag figured out. Once I got it figured out, we were in good shape. Okay, the last one I'm going to use is this little heart, and I'm just going to go right over everything in some pink this time, just to add some more color. This pink works really good because it doesn't really show extremely well, and I can stamp it on top of what I've already got there, and it kind of looks like it's behind, so I like that. So now I've got it all stamped, and I'm going to use my trimmer and cut this page down to 3 inches wide. So this is 3 by 11, and that's what we're going to be working with. Now I'm going to do some scoring, and here's the thing. Because we're using paper, we have to use a very light hand, okay? So don't get crazy and don't press real hard. I want you to use a very light hand to do these score marks. So your first score mark is going to be 1/2 inch. So I'm going to score here at 1/2. Very gently, just enough to let me know where to fold. Then I'm going to score at 1, and then at 5 inches, and then at 5.5, then at 6, then at 10, and at 10.5. Now, I want you to know that you don't have to remember all of these. I will have them in the description below. Now, I've put my paper into my scoreboard the long way. What's going to matter here is which way your pattern is. This is the top of the bag. This is the bottom of the bag. So you want to make sure your pattern is correct. We're going to score the bottom of the bag. And we're going to score 3/8 of an inch up from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to come right here to the bottom, which is 3, and count up 3 clicks, or 3 little lines, and that's 3/8 of an inch. That's all we got to do. I jumped a little bit, so I'm going to come back and do it again. Okay, there we go. Very lightly. I mean, I'm doing it multiple passes, but very lightly. So now all our scoring is done. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fold. So here at the end of the bag, I'm going to fold this up. And this paper can kind of get out of line anyway, just because it's a very, thin paper. So make sure you line it up nice and straight. So fold that one up, and then I'm going to fold this one up as well. Then here, I'm going to fold down. When you see the bag assembled, you'll know exactly how to do this. Here I'm going to fold accordion style, so I'm going to bring this up again and line that score line up there, and then you'll be able to fold this one down. I want to do this right here to show you this. This is the edge of the bag, and you see how it's accordioned? That's why I did that like that. So that should make more sense. Then here I'm going to fold back and up. So another accordion. So at this point, we have something that looks like this. These pieces are going to get glued together. So that's going to kind of just sit into that little accordion. So your bag will look like this. So super easy. I can glue that in a minute. First, I want to work on this bottom 3/8 of an inch score line. We'll fold this up and crease it. This is delicate work. You're not working with cardstock here, so you want to be a little delicate with it. Now we need to make some slices and cutaways along the bottom. The first one is this entire inch panel that we scored here. This is the side gusset of the bag. We don't need this section. So first score line and second score line, cut that out up to the 3/8 inch mark. Okay. Now you're going to come to the middle. This is the side gusset here. So we're going to cut the same thing out from one score line to the other. These are an inch apart. And then we're going to cut this little piece away. We don't need it. So basically, every side of the bag we're getting rid of. Now we're going to do the same thing here. So I've laid this out to show you this. You don't need the bottom section under the accordioned gussets of the bag. You only need these long flaps on the fronts of your bag. Okay, this is one of those projects you should watch me all the way to the end before you mimic it. Now, something else I'm going to do just while I'm here. I'm going to go to this middle score line and fold this flat just so I can poke some holes in this bag and make this easier for me once it's all put together. If I wait to do this once it's all put together, this gets a little bit hairy. So I'm going to take my crocodile and I'm just going to come in and poke two holes. One about here. You can measure if you want. But I am the queen of eyeballing, and that's what I'm going to do. So one about there, and then one, I'm going to try to get it similar. It's probably not going to be perfect. One about there, okay? So now when I lay this back out, because all I did was fold it in half, now my holes are in the same spot. I did not do this part on my first bag, and I wished that I had. I'm going to take a couple of pieces of baker's twine, and I'm just going to feed it through these holes I made. Now these holes I made are pretty big, so this is going to go fairly easy. So I've got this through, and I'm going to just kind of make it about the length I want my handle to be. Something like that is fine. And then I'm going to flip this over. Something like that. And I'm going to use some washi tape. I did not do this a while ago. What I did on my original was I tied a knot and then glued it. But I got to be honest, it didn't look very good. I didn't like the knot inside the bag. So what I'm doing here is just using a piece of washi so it'll be kind of pretty on the inside. And I'm going to trim that off. And I'm only putting that washi inside the gusset. Okay, I don't need it anywhere else. And then I'm just going to trim these little extra pieces off. I just think this will look prettier from the bag. I just think this will look prettier when you're looking down into the bag than having the knots in there. It just seemed to work better for me. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to kind of eyeball them to be about the same. I'm not going to stress if they're not exactly the same. If you need them to be, look, you can use your cutting mat and try to get them exactly, but something close is good for me. And I'm going to take another piece of the washi, and at that score line, I'm going to put it down here, cross over this baker's twine, and then trim it off before the fold again. And then just close that down. Then I'm going to trim off these loose edges. Okay, handles, middle gusset. I'm going to fold one end inside, put my glue down, just like so. Okay. Then I'm just going to bring the other side over and match that up. Just let those match. Now I'm using wet glue because I think it's easier because it gives me a second to kind of manipulate this, but you use whatever you're comfortable with. Then I'm just going to make sure my scores are folded like they should be. So see, now we have this little gift bag like this. How cute, right? But we want to put it into the card. Now, before I put this into my card, I'm going to stamp on the inside. And you remember how I told you I was going to change the way I stamp this time? I'm going to go long ways this time. And I already have my stamps loaded onto my block. I'm just going to ink them. This time I decided to use black on the inside. I think it'll be pretty with that bag to have a little contrasting color. So this will say Happy Valentine's Day. And I think I'm going to stamp it about a little to the right-hand side, so that when the bag is there, it'll make a little more sense. So it's a little off from the center line of my card base. And by the way, this is a pre-made card base I had in my stash. So this one is 8.5 wide by 5.5 tall, and then scored at 4 1/4. So that's an A2 size card. And then we need to do the front. Now I'm actually going to put a panel on the front, so I could go ahead and put the bag in, but let's build the panel first. I just want to show you what I did. So I'm going to show you how I did this. Super simple, a lot of stamping. I'm really enjoying the stamping. So I took a piece of paper wider than the front of my card, and if you need to, you can kind of do a test and make sure you can get that to go across the front, and this one will. And now I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm taking a stamp here that says love. It actually is like love in a definition. This one's from Define Emotion stamp set. I'm going to stamp it kind of at the top middle, just kind of eyeballing that. So there's that one. Then I'm going to go back to all those stamps I used earlier, and we'll start with the large red one. And I'm going to stamp this heart on either end, here, and then on the other end. And this doesn't, you don't have to do this exact. I don't even have to match the first one I did. Nobody's going to see the same two cards together. So if you just want to play around and stamp, have fun. I'm going to stamp the gray one here on this side, and the pink one here on this side, and it's all done. So now that I got all my stamping done, I'm going to show you something else I do to save scraps. But this is kind of an easy one. You wouldn't really have to do this, but I'm kind of lazy like this. You could just measure a strip to go on the back of this, but what I'm going to do is use my Perfect mini rulers. I think they're called Perfect Layer rulers. That's it. And sometimes they just come in real handy. So I'm just going to glue this down to a piece of scrap black paper I had in my stash, just like so. And then I'm going to use my little ruler. And these are super cool. They come in like a little 2-pack like this. Mini Perfect Layers, that's what they're called. And I'm going to use the 1/8 inch side. So I'm just going to lay this right next to that white cardstock strip, and I'm going to take a X-Acto blade or a craft knife and run it right down beside it. And what I love is, once I get this cut through, there we go, that will leave behind a 1/8 inch mark for me, so I didn't even have to worry about measuring or anything. It's just done for me. Super cool. So it says 1/8 inch there. I'm going to lay it right next to that cardstock and then run this down. Again, you can totally just cut a piece of paper that is 1/4 inch wider than this white piece and get the same thing. But sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I just want to grab a scrap and go, and that works. All right, let's go to the front of the card. Now, one more thing I did. This is a piece of red cardstock for the front of my card, and I put 3 little hearts on my stamp block, and I just made my own heart designer paper for the back. So I just went around and stamped this all across the page, like so. Then I even came back and kind of did an offset. Just play around, just stamp wherever you want. You're just making some background paper. This is perfect for if you're last minute and maybe you don't have some Valentine paper in your stash. Maybe you didn't think about it and you need, you know, a quick heart background, or you just need something fast for Valentine's. It's a great way to do it. Use what's in your stash and turn it into what you need. So I have my mat for the front of the card, and then I've got this piece that's going to go across it. And this is what I did. I put glue onto the back, just like so. And then I just laid it across where I wanted it to go. I was really being lazy with this one. I wanted it to look different, but I didn't want to do a lot of measuring. So this is how I did it. Just wiggle that into place where you want it. Then I just flipped it to the back and trimmed off what was hanging off the side, right to the edge. Just like that. Look how cool that looks. I love how that turned out. It's a little different than having it go straight across the bottom or what have you. So now I'm going to take my card, and this is going to get glued straight to the front. You can even put another mat if you wanted a little black edge around it, or if you wanted to put some of that glitter washi somewhere, you could totally do that. That would be super cute. And I'm going to stick this down into place, leaving myself that white edge around. And see, doing this now is much easier because once we put the bag in, it's really hard to get it to go nice and flat. All right, it's ready for the bag. So Easy. Here's our little bag we made. I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it down centered top to bottom. Again, I'm just eyeballing, okay? This is that edge that we folded. Remember that 3/8 inch score mark? You're going to put glue on the inside of that 3/8 inch score mark. You could totally do this with sticky tape. There would be no problem. With this bag laying slightly above the score mark, you're going to close the card down on it, just like that, and catch one side. And I'll show you what I mean by that. See how it caught one side, but we still have one side lifted up, and I got something on my card. So then I'm going to put glue on this side as well, under that 3/8 inch, and all I had to do was just lay it right next to that score line and then close that down. Now by doing that, when we open this card, those two score lines are going to open like this and be the bottom of our bag and help our bag to open up. I'll show you what I mean. Ready? Flip it over. We open it, look what happens. See how those bottom pieces are glued down and it automatically opens our bag for us. I think that's adorable. How cute is that, right? Love it. Now, here's what I did. I cut down a piece of cardstock to be a little fake gift card to show you. You drop the gift card in, and that's actually the size of a gift card. And look, when you give the gift card's inside, and then you just take it out. So stinking cute. I do not know who came up with this idea, but it was brilliant, and I had fun engineering a way around it. And I will tell you, it's much better with the washi. Let me show you the original one. This one I did by tying the knot inside. You see that? I thought that would work. But what happens is when you close it flat, you can feel those two knots right there. It's really thick. See that? Look at the difference. Look how flat this one is. Even though it's got the baker's twine in it, it's much flatter with the washi. And I actually like the little gold glitter inside. I think it's cute. I hope this gives you something to make for that last minute Valentine, or maybe you need a birthday present card, or maybe you need some sort of holiday. This would go for any of them. And just like how cute it is. No one would expect to open this up and see a little gift bag inside, would they? Super cute. Thanks so much for the challenge. I've got about 2 more videos that I want to film that are challenge videos from you guys where you sent me something and said, please show me how to do this. And I'm enjoying those. Now, that doesn't mean that the video hasn't been done by someone else. It's just I have some folks who've asked me to show them how I do it, and so it's kind of fun for me to do that. Thanks so much for suggesting this one. If you make this card, and I bet you will, I want to see it over on our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. We have so many photographs of things you guys are making, which is actually where I was inspired to do this. So head over and get some inspiration for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are so close to 100,000. And we have got a major 100,000 subscriber giveaway in the works. You guys will not believe the prizes that are going to be available to you. So be sure to click subscribe and also that little bell so you'll get notifications whenever I post live or whenever I post a regular video. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.